Welcome. I am so happy to be here. Welcome to Humboldt Redwood State Park, and we're going live like we do. And some of you may remember that this old growth tree houses a bumblebee hive, and I did a Facebook Live on it a couple weeks ago, and I just want you to hear they're still in there. So I hope you could hear that. So we have a very, very special Facebook Live today. We have the North Coast Redwood District's Superintendent, Bjelajac, who is going to talk to us about the interesting changes and things that are happening in our park right now as we speak. So welcome everybody, this is Griff, and we are getting started with the Superintendent, Victor. How's it going today?
It's going well. So want to start it off by saying that we have good social distance here. I'm not wearing a mask because Griff is staying at least 6 feet away from me. Welcome everybody. I'm not your regular lively, clever interpreters, but I'm versed in some of the aspects of parks. If you've been in the area, locals, folks, we want to keep, we don't want to go to our parks and visit our parks when we have to do it as a destination trip. But local folks, we opened up our parks on Thursday, where you can have vehicular access again. So all of our day use areas are open. There are facilities associated with those, bathrooms that you can use. And I've been coming up and down. I was up north yesterday. Our district goes from the Oregon border down to Utah, which is about parallel with Leggett. So a pretty long section, 22 parks, 131,000 acres. So I was up north yesterday and I saw a lot of people visiting. I saw excellent social distancing. I saw folks when they're, any chance of getting in close proximity to others, they were wearing their face masks or face coverings, and it's terrific. A lot of people are really grateful to be out again. We've been chomping at the bit to get folks back in our parks, and it's awesome.
Awesome. So the visitors cooperating with some of these guidelines and wearing the mask and keeping the social distancing, that's making it easier for us to...
Absolutely. So we're working off of county health officers, and they put out guidelines. So every county has a health officer and there are different guidelines. North Coast Redwoods District is in 3 counties. So we talk to public health officers from Mendocino County, Humboldt County, as well as Del Norte County. And you'll have face covering requirement in one county and maybe not in another county. So when we span these jurisdictions, we have to keep up on what are the latest ordinances that are coming out of the county, as well as what the governor's putting out, and then we look for compliance with that. And when we invite the public into these areas, we put out guidance for that. And so some of these things, when you look at moving into a different phase, you talk about different phases for counties.
Mm-hmm.
For state parks, we're in a phase 2 opening. Up in North Coast, that's 22 units, and we allow vehicular access day use.
Awesome.
So as we move into like a phase 3, which it's out there, but we're trying to prepare for it now, that'll allow folks to come back in and look at camping. So,
excellent. So thank you very much, all you folks that have been doing the social distancing and have been covering, going with the guidelines, because that makes it so much easier, because we do want you here, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful time to be here. We really want you to see this wonderful inheritance and to fall in love with it. So thank you very much for cooperating. So your crystal ball is not going to reveal exactly when things happen, because there's so many different voices that have to weigh in and scientists that have to see how things are going with the pandemic and stuff. But we're keeping our fingers crossed.
Yep. I'm thinking of the month timeline. We're trying to develop plans now. Some of our federal partners, Forest Service and others, are opening up campgrounds. So we're looking at what that looks like.
Okay.
So what we don't want to do is be a vector.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to be that point of contact where folks are getting infected, and so
on their vacation.
And we put safeguards in place, and once those are there, and we'll have messaging associated with it, and what is the capacity,
Mm-hmm.
what our typical capacity, it may be different going forward. We're trying to figure that out now. But there are lots of people up in North Coast Redwoods, staff across the board, natural resource people, cultural resource people, interpreters, administrators, peace officers, facilities folks that have been out here doing good deeds and staying busy in the parks and getting prepared for the public coming back in. So this is really, this weekend is the first weekend we've had the vehicular traffic
Mm-hmm.
open, and I'm really, really pleased at how everybody is interacting with each other and keeping their social distancing,
Mm-hmm.
good social hygiene, washing your hands, not going to your face.
Awesome. Thank you so much, folks, because we are dying for you to come back here. Like, I'm getting lonely. It's been nice having the park to myself, but that's not what I want. I want all of you here with us. So you oversee, as superintendent of the North Coast Redwoods, you oversee quite a few different parks, trails, beach areas, all kinds of wonderful places. During the pandemic, have you had like a go-to spot, or is it a trail or a particular spot that you've liked to explore and just kind of like, take a break?
I'd like to say that I'm able to get out every second of the day, but I'm really stuck in an office for most days. On the weekends when I've been getting out, I've been coming down this way to Humboldt Redwoods.
Awesome.
And then going up to Prairie Creek up that way.
Beautiful.
So I'm supposed to be a parent and say that they're all my favorites. But and this one we haven't been able to access. We've got some road issues on Howland Hill, but Boy Scout Tree Trail is spectacular. Going out of the Prairie Creek Visitor Center, just a little 200 feet, staying on that bridge across Prairie Creek is spectacular.
It is.
What's wonderful when you think of Avenue of the Giants is you don't have to hike 20 miles to get access. A lot of times you can get pretty close, and you step out into something like this that is paces away, not miles away.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I really do like the accessibility of Humboldt Redwood State Park. So, folks, we're going to have the superintendent with us for just a few more minutes. And so if you have any questions that you want to put on there is a lag. So if you have a question, you might want to start typing it right now, because there's like a 45-minute and a lag, and we're going to have to let the superintendent go. But if you have any questions, I will ask him right now. So John Emery has asked, are the visitor centers open? And you kind of covered that, but would you just hit on that one more time?
Visitor centers are not open at this point. Think of them as what it might look like for a retail store. Most of our visitor centers are operated by our partners, so Humboldt Redwoods Interpretive Association, Redwood Park Conservancy. So their staff need to be reintroduced. The capacities that we had previously without COVID restrictions are reduced. So we're calculating those numbers and looking at what the what the flow looks like in the visitor centers. We don't want to have people on top of each other. We want to be able to accommodate social distancing. So those are some of the challenges, but we're working on those now. I also want to say that I am not as clever and not as well engaged as our interpreter. What I do is I tune in at 3 o'clock every day, and I see what these guys are up to.
Awesome.
And it's been terrific. These guys have been providing a service when I can't get out and when everybody else can't get out into their public parks. They're talking about natural resource stuff, cultural resource stuff, interesting things, and it's terrific.
Thank you.
I was a goofy guy listening to that tree about 10 minutes ago.
Awesome. Yeah, and we've been quizzing people as they walk by, asking them what they think that sound is, and we get all kinds of great responses. So Braid would like to know that you have a great beard.
Okay.
So great. Braid comes on here quite a bit. She's one of our big park fans here.
It wasn't always white.
Oh, interesting how that happens, huh?
Yes. Melanin gives out.
So thank you very much. Anything further? Okay, so Jamie would like to know, I think that's Jamie. Jamie wants to know, is there anything further you'd like visitors to know or try to do better?
I think that what we have to watch for are those places where we can potentially gather. So when you think about parking lots, we don't want to park, if there's space, you don't want to park right next to each other. When you get out of your vehicles, if you're with a social group or it's part of your family, you guys stick together. And then you don't have different social groups that come together and gather in a spot. Once you get out on the trails, you get out to the beaches, you get out on some of the river bars, there's lots of opportunity to space. We don't want static groups interacting with other static groups. So that's one of the things that makes it easy for me. I've been, like I said, up and down the district this weekend, and people are doing a terrific job. And
awesome.
We just continue doing that, and we can start to loosen things and open things up so that the public can get it back in their public lands.
Right on, visitors. I've seen so many responsible parents helping their kids obey the guidelines too. Thank you so much, because we want y'all to come back. So Sandra says hello and thank you for all you do. And we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, Victor and Stephanie from Michigan says hello. Stephanie, you got to come check out the Redwoods. So thank you very much. And those of you have heard it, day use parking lots are open. So just continue practicing the spaces that our superintendent talked about.
Let me put out there, before you go, there's a parks website, parks.ca.gov. There's a page called Flatten the Curve. There's some guidelines that are on there. But it also, you can go and search for the parks that are near you to find out which ones are open. So
Excellent.
We're at a phase 2 where our vehicular traffic is open again up at North Coast Redwoods, all the units, all 3 counties. But there are other units that are down in more urban areas that still have restrictions on parking and some maybe more stringent restrictions. There's some time frames, go to the beach during this time and not during that time. So we're still trying to keep the crowds from developing, but go to Parks website and check when you're going to go out and visit a park, and you can have all kinds of information and go there informed, and it allows us to continue to offer these services to folks. So
parks.ca.gov.
Yep.
And I will put that, when I get back to my office, I'll put that in the post so you guys can see it. Thank you very much, Victor. And thank you, everybody, for cooperating with standards. And that's how we're all going to get back into the parks as soon as possible. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend.
Thank you all.